Hello and welcome to the volunteer comms training for the High Lonesome 100 and the other Freestone Endurance races. I'm John Eisen. Here's me sitting there doing some work at a finish line. I'm the communications director for the High Lonesome 100 and I've been the communications director for a few years now. In this video, we'll talk about your responsibilities, some equipment overview, communication protocols, runner tracking, very important, and internet failures, what to do. Your responsibilities for comms when you're out there as a volunteer is to track runners. That's our number one. Also, communicate with Comms HQ, keep the lines of communication open, notify Comms HQ of all drops, and at closing, work with Comms HQ to verify all runners are through your aid station. Make sure that you do not close your aid station until Comms HQ has verified all runners are through, and sweepers. Let's talk about equipment. Comms gear is internet connectivity gear. So this is like a Starlink or a Verizon Jetpack or an iPhone for hotspot. We also provide iPads for runner tracking. You can also use the iPhones for that, or your own iPhone if you want to. We also provide an iPhone or InReach or satellite texting for emergency communication. This is all powered with batteries, generators, charging cables, cases, and we also provide walkie-talkies out there for specific use cases out on course. Refer to your captain whether you will need those. Let's talk about Starlinks. This is our main way of providing internet. This year we are providing almost every aid station with a Starlink. It's awesome. They are high speed, they're reliable. They do occasionally not work, so we do have to still prepare for internet failures, but for the most part we get nice, reliable, high-speed internet across the course. We're using Starlink Gen 2s here. Those are the older ones. They have a stand that you set up and they automatically point themselves in the right direction once you plug them in. The only caveat with those is that you do need the app to stow them, to put them back in stowing position. The Starlink Mini and the Gen 3 are much easier to stow. They just fold out and you set them up and then they provide internet. But in order to properly set them up so that they have the best view of their satellites, you do need to go into the Starlink app, go to the alignment, and it'll tell you which way to orient the device. So if you could, pre-race, have the Starlink app. I think some of the iPhones will give you out, have the Starlink app, and your captains should have the Starlink app. So between all of you, somebody will have the Starlink app. The Wi-Fi should just magically work and you'll be able to connect to it. Hotspots, we provide like a Verizon Jetpack or the iPhone hotspots. The iPhone hotspots are not great. We do use them still in some places. So sometimes it's just easier to just use the iPhone itself for runner tracking and syncing and communicating at, say, like a not so busy aid station. So if that's the case, you can just use the iPhone. The Jetpack is more like a Wi-Fi provider and you just turn it on, place it up high. For equipment pickup, your aid station captain will pick up your equipment for you, except for the Baldwin comms checkpoint. If you're at Baldwin, we do need to organize picking up the equipment and we'll work with those volunteers for that. Let's talk about communication protocols. If you have good internet, we want you to use Discord. Discord is a messaging app to communicate with other comms teams as well as other people in the race and the Comms HQ. But you have a responsibility to communicate with Comms HQ many times during the race. This is just very important to help Comms HQ know what's going on and keep track of everything going on out on the course. We have 14 different aid stations and we have 2 comms checkpoints and multiple aid stations used twice. And so there's a lot going on out in the wilderness and we do need to make sure everyone's safe. So communicating with Comms HQ is very important. Make sure to let Comms HQ know when you're set up, when your first runner comes by, any dropped runners, any timing mistakes, any medical non-emergencies that you need to like let somebody know down the line, like say, hey, this runner's leaving with a limp. We want the medical volunteers at the next aid station to know that somebody's coming in and needs a checkup. You can let Comms HQ know and we'll communicate that down the line, or you can use Discord to let the comms team know at the next aid station. We also need to know when sweepers and last runners come in, as well as near closing to communicate about how many runners are left. So we can make sure that no aid station closes until Comms HQ okays it, verifying everyone is through that aid station. We use Discord. Discord is a text messaging app with channels. Your iPads will be pre-logged in. You don't need to sign up voluntarily. We're going to use general for just general chat. We're going to use the channel comms for talking to other comms team members. And you can always DM Comms HQ for anything important. Let's talk about runner tracking. By the way, thanks to all the comms volunteers who are coming back. We've pictured some in these photos, and I hope to be out on course this year getting photos of all of you. Runner tracking is done through the Open Split Time app, or OST remote app. It's our #1 priority. So we do provide paper tracking, but it is secondary to the tracking that we do on the app. Set up volunteers at the entrances and the exits so that you can capture inbound times and outbound times. If your aid station just has one entrance and exit, it makes it pretty easy. For busy aid stations, use a shouter and multiple trackers. Duplicate times are totally okay. Your shouter should be somebody with good vision and a good voice who can see bib numbers and call them out. And then you can have multiple people listening to that shouter and tracking runners. So if you get more than one person tracking the same runner, that's totally okay. We handle that on the back end. We just want to make sure we miss as few runners as possible. OST remote can be set up by going and refreshing data. Well, it'll already be logged in when you receive it, but refreshing data synchronizes the roster of runners if we did any changes like morning of the race. So just go to the menu. You can get there by hitting the hamburger in the top right or by swiping left, and then hitting utilities, and then this refresh data button. To track a runner, you'll be on this tracking screen. Just type in their bib number. Their name will come up, verify with them. Say, "Are you John?" I say yes. And then you can hit either the inbound button or the outbound button. These are the big blue buttons that say Raspberry 1 in, Raspberry 1 out. On this example, it will say the aid station you're at, in or out. And for some aid stations, actually for Raspberry 1, we might only record a single time, and it might just say Raspberry 1 across the screen. So tap the correct button based on whether it's an inbound time or an outbound time, and that'll record the time. You'll get a nice ding. You can track drops by toggling the continuing toggle over to done. And we do this specifically in 2 different ways. For time cut runners, that is runners who are coming into the aid station after the time cut, they need to be cut immediately. So we record them being done as an inbound time. Make sure to work with your aid station captain to know the exact cutoff time. We do allow them a little bit of leeway. For voluntary drops, that's runners who come in and say, "I want to drop." Record them as normal the first time. Just say, "Okay, you're in." Don't record them as done yet. Send them to your captain. Your captain will fill out a drop form and take their bib. When that's done, they will bring it back to you. Say, "Hey, here's the drop form." We'll put it in the comms binder. And then you record them as done with an outbound time, saying that they chose to quit at this aid station. If you make a mistake, it's fine. Just send a message to Comms HQ. And you should be sending a message to Comms HQ when you hear that the runner is dropping anyway, just so we can track these drops. But we do need official confirmation that they've dropped with a drop form when that happens. To sync all this timing information, because when you make it, it's not synced to the internet yet, you go to the review and sync in the menu, which is, again, hamburger in the top right or swipe left. And then you can hit the sync button at the bottom, and then data will be synced. Please sync as often as possible. With all the internet we have out there, there's really no reason to wait with unsynced runners on your screen. If you make a mistake, you can edit it in the review and sync page. Just go to the review and sync page and then tap the time that you wish to edit. You can edit the bib, continuing done, pacer, no pacer, and the time. You can also delete it if it was errant. But if you sync a time and you made a mistake on it, you can just send a message to Comms HQ and we'll fix it on the back end. If you get a bib not found, I just want to make sure you know it's okay. This basically means that your roster is incomplete and there's a new runner out there. So double check that the runner exists, right? Like if you double check you didn't make a mistake typing it in, but if it is the case that this is the bib, just know that that's okay, and you can record and sync it as normal. And then you should probably go to utilities, refresh data to get new rosters. Let's talk about internet failures. Offline timing. OST remote can operate fully offline, so you can continue to use OST remote even though you don't have internet. So if your internet goes down, you don't have to switch to paper. You can continue using OST remote. When the internet is restored, you just go to sync and you'll sync all that data that you've been recording up to the internet. Now, if this only happens after the race, or after the aid station closes, when your aid station gets down into the lowlands, out of the mountains, that's okay too. So just let Comms HQ know that this iPad for this aid station has a bunch of times on it, needs to be synced. The review and sync screen can be used to look at historic times. So if somebody comes up and is like, when did this person come in? And they're not on your paper sheet, you can go into the review and sync page and scroll through and see what time they had. If internet fails at critical aid stations, we resort to secondary runner tracking, which is fancy for text every time to Comms HQ. You want to use paper tracking sheets to record these times and message Comms HQ every runner's time. You would do this using InReach or satellite on phone or SMS. We haven't had to do this in 2 years, and we haven't had to do it for a full aid station, I think, in 3 years. So really hoping we don't have to do this. It is very cumbersome, but it is something we prepare for. If you have to sacrifice something at any time because you just have too many runners and not enough people, we want to sacrifice outbound times so that we preserve inbound times. Inbound times are the most important to make sure people get to these aid stations. The critical aid stations we're talking about are Antero, Baldwin, and St. Elmo because they help tell when people can be metered to go to the Cottonwood aid station, the cruise. St. Elmo and Tincup for the metering to Hancock this year. And Lost Wonder and Purgatory for both a search and rescue purpose as well as crews wanting to know when their runner's going to get to Monarch. Thank you for watching. Now go and fill out the video confirmation survey. It's at the description of this video. It's at this bit.ly link, and it's in the email that you were sent from Comms HQ, from the Comms director. There's a secret word. It's on the screen. You'll need this to pass the confirmation survey. Don't get it wrong. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please email comms@freestoneendurance.com, and we'll see you out on race day.